So I'll probably have one or two fights with my cable because when your phone is old and your cable just doesn't want to match whatever phone that you're currently using, it's like everything is just like kicking you out. I just like realized that today I can't even view those ones view of you ones kind of like pictures that people normally send. And so I'm stuck with this. I thought only Snapchat was doing that, but turns out WhatsApp has introduced it. I don't even know why they are so obsessed with it, but it's the latest tag and it's just preventing us from actually like having something or some evidence to keep against those that we talk to or we speak to. But welcome to everyone that is new to the podcast, and welcome back to everyone that is a new or a returning listener. Thank you so much. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I am, hoping that you will enjoy today's episode. So episode, we'll be talking about the art of losing everything, just to gain it back with the right characteristics, and the importance of having to experience a loss before you can climb up. I think it's the art of just like saying that it's better to lose or fail faster than to actually like fail when you have a lot of stuff and you don't know how to handle failure. So I guess that's the whole thing about life. I don't know about a lot of people, but I've had a lot of stories about people that have lost before they regain, and they regain it with super strength and superpowers. And when they regain whatever that they had lost before, they knew how to act with it. I'll tell my story, and I hope that you have a story that you'll relate to what I will be talking about, right? So when I graduated from college, I had a certificate in computer engineering. I still have a certificate in computer engineering. Well, I just got the hard copy. Like I've been having the soft copy for the longest time, and it really like daunted me. Like this is something that I will, I'll speak about as well. So when I graduated in 2021 with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. And yeah, it was one of the toughest courses that I've ever taken. Heck, everyone agrees. I think it's a universal language. Computer engineering is one of the hardest courses to ever like, do and actually like complete. A lot of people have switched lanes. Like I've heard about a lot of people, especially in the content creation space. They always speak about how they started doing their degree being computer engineering, and then they switched to a whole kind of different, engineering. I don't know how hard those were, but from what I'm getting, people have had it easier with other engineering degrees than computer engineering, right? So yeah, graduating with a computer engineering degree, I was so destined and so determined and so excited, for what's going to come next, which I had anticipated would be my breakthrough as an engineer, right? So you know what happened in 2021. We had the pandemic. Well, it came in 2020, right? And the funny part is that 2020 was also my breakthrough year. Like I was set to go to Edinburgh in the United Kingdom to just be there, like for summer school, and learn about transformative, leadership, as well as like how to pitch your businesses and your ideas to, to a potential sponsor or to a potential early adopter. And the sad part is that I couldn't go because of the restrictions, the bans on traveling and stuff like that. So yeah, it then built up, like it caught up with me in 2021 after graduating, right? And I was sent back to my country, and I had to be, where I was for that period of time. And I'm saying back to my country because I did my education outside. Like, yeah, yeah, I had gotten a scholarship, a really good scholarship, and it was a beautiful thing. Like, I got a scholarship under the Mastercard Foundation. So for everyone that is, a product of the Mastercard Foundation, that's a great thing. You guys are amazing. You guys are blessed, right? And after that, I had to return to my, village. I'll call it a village, but it's not really a village. It's like a township, whereby it's, you don't know whether you want to call it rural or you want to call it urban, but it's not urban. It's not, I don't know. It's too busy to be called rural as well. So yeah, those kind of settings, right? So I came back, and when I came back, I was, looking for jobs, trying to apply. I did a lot of hackering. For people, that, have applied for tech jobs, they know what hackering is. But basically, hackering is whereby you do exams, you do quizzes that are related to coding. You will just like get an idea of how companies, ask for, to test out if you can really do programming. And, I had, a fair share of programming whilst I was doing, my learning in college, right? And so after that, I was doing just those things. I applied to Goldman Sachs, I applied to a lot of big companies as well, JP Morgan, like, those giants, Amazon, and the funny part about Amazon, I still need to understand it today. Like, when you apply, you get your rejection before the sun rises. I don't know how that happens, but I'm guessing it's just like it's the machines, it's the algorithm, it's the AI that is behind screening your CV to see whether it has what they expect to have as the keywords on it. Which I don't know yet what those keywords are. I hope I will get to know as I go and as I move forward. But yeah, I got all those rejections, a fair share of rejections. If you are currently getting rejections, just know that it's normal. We all get it. Like, yeah, people be wanting 10 years of work experience, and you're like, how am I gonna have 10 years of work experience? I just graduated, man. Stop killing my dreams, just like that. But yeah, after applying and realizing that I'm not getting anything, I, happened to be at the right position or the right place, at the right time. I don't know whether to call it the right place at the right time, but at that time, I felt like, it felt like it was the right place at the right time, So yeah, I got, someone who was a human resources manager for a company that had just like launched, and, she saw me, she spotted me, and she was like, if you need a job, you can just like swing by and we can talk. Like, she wanted to be the mother role, She didn't just like spot me as someone that needed a job, but she started off as like a mother role. Like, she treated me as her son. She wanted me to be her son. I don't know why, but that was the case, which is a perfect coincidence, I guess. And yeah, as we spoke, the more we spoke, I told her that I happened to be looking for a job, and I didn't know how big of a woman she was, but she is pretty much a big deal. She is a human resources manager who's consulting with those big, retail shops and companies as well. So she hooked me up to one of that, the newest, business that had just like launched, and she happened to also be the director of that company. So I hoped in, I had this chance to prove myself, and stuff like that. But from day one, man, you could just like sense that people thought, I wasn't, the one for the job, because obviously if you come through, I'd call it connections, but it's not really connections. But yeah, if you come through connections, people will always second guess you. They'll think you don't deserve the job, you're not really a good person, you're not smart and stuff like that. You don't have what it takes. You were handed a job, right? And the funny part is that I dedicated myself to that job because I knew that this person had helped me out, right? And whatever I do, I'm staining her name. So I worked super hard. I was entirely like devoted to this company, and I was super exhausted every day. Like every day, like I would just like, you know, I even developed this thing whereby like you feel like there's a sharp pain on your neck. I don't even know what it is like, but it started during those days. Like I would feel like my neck is just like it's been cut off, like stuff like that. So yeah, I found strength the next day to go, and yeah, man, I had a lot of criticism and stuff like that, you know. But the good thing is that people knew that I was working hard, and that I would say I worked super hard, and I tried the the best that I can to link everyone together and create a team. And I did create a team because I had people that were going out, to go and source customers. Like the business was running well, like functioning. Like imagine, like for the first time it had like launched, it was hitting around, as close as like 500,000, right? In 1 month, like not even like 1 month, like in a week, and we were doing well, so well, and everyone started thinking, their company has reached stability, and now they can just like lazy around and just like mistreat everyone and everyone. And so I started getting that treatment, like, I started getting, useless complaints that I don't know what they were about. But it was one person basically. She was doing that to a lot of people, to everyone, And it even got to a point whereby she started doing it to the HR. She had thought she was just an HR, but it was the managing director. So yeah, it took a whole left turn. And I was offered a leadership role. I was offered now a place to manage, like at a management level in the IT, not just like on that branch, but on the other branches that they had established as well. But I couldn't take it anymore because it was tiring in my soul as well as in my mind and stuff like that, especially because someone had also suggested that they should bring someone else and replace me and demote me into a mere clerk. Imagine, just think about the fact that I am a computer engineer, right? I'm in a position whereby I'm compromising to even be interning under IT when I am someone who is an engineer, right? So yeah, it was a lot for me, and I felt like, you know what, I can do better. I know I can elevate in life, and I think I'm destined to elevate. So I'll take this leave, this amicable leave, and just like, part ways with them and find another spot to create to gain, I guess, confidence, and to have more of a place whereby I'm more appreciated and stuff like that. So I never quit. I always tell myself that I don't quit, right? So I had to sit through the conduct that I had, and I was working hard, every day. And you know what? People will be shocked. They'll be like, "Man, didn't you just say that at the end of like this contract you're not renewing? How is it that you're still working so hard and everything like that?" But it taught me discipline, man. It taught me professionalism. It taught me how to keep a cool head. Even when people have been like, they've been disrespecting you and stuff like that. I was even disrespected to the point whereby they brought the person that was suggested to be brought to actually replace me. And when the person was brought, the person had to always come to me and ask for me to coach him, to teach him the job, right? And at that time, he was earning even more than I am, more than even like by half of what I was earning. Like it's like more of like my earning was doubled, right? For the person who I was training, right? As the person that they call me and label me as someone who is not, experienced enough to actually be in a leadership role. But I took it good, man. I did my best. I trained the person and told him what to do, how to do it, where to go and stuff like that, and how to improve as well, because I was also like thinking social, like software developer wise, as well as like e-commerce. And a company was about to take that direction as well and just like dive like deep into e-commerce. I don't know whether they will eventually put and implement all those ideas we had, but hopefully they will, so that they grow. I don't have anything against them. I don't hold anything against them, But immediately when I left, man, my life took a turn, and it was the hardest time of my life. I tried a lot of stuff, and that's where I learned a lot, which is why I say, like, we need this fall for us to learn how to build our own wings and then start flying. I learned software development. Like, I knew software development, but more of like on the back end and the data structures and like assembly language, hardware and stuff like that. Embedded stuff, system dynamics and system, digital system designs. But now I was teaching myself how to create software like, one I can use on the desktop, mobile apps, as well as like web. And I learned that thing for a whole year. And yeah, you had me right. For a whole year without a job, right? And I was learning that back to back every day. I remember every day, like I was never ever free, but I wasn't working. I was probably one of the busiest person out there, and people were literally like shocked. What is this dude busy about? And I was doing two things specifically. Like, I'd sleep at like 2 a.m. or like 3 a.m., and then I wake up the next day like 8 or like 9 or stuff like that and go for a run. And when I come back from the run, I will code up until I go back to bed. Like, I barely even ate. Like, I went from like say 30, I think 32 or 34 back to 28. Like that's just how severe it was, and I was just like so focused. Like, and also I guess the fact that I was running a lot actually like contributed to my weight loss. But for me, it was a coping mechanism when it came to all this struggles, like this overthinking and stuff like that. I needed an escape, and for me running was the perfect escape. So I was running every time whenever I feel like, okay, now I'm so tired, and I don't have a drive anymore. I just like hit the road, run, come back more refreshed, continue working. And that's where I think I developed some mentality of like, I'm gonna solve a problem no matter where I'm at or what I'm doing, because like as I was running, I'd just like be thinking about how to solve the bug that I had, or when I was sleeping, I'd still be having that, that thought process, and so it grew in me, and I had it like every time, and even now, like when I have something that I need to solve, I literally just like solve it overnight, either in my sleep or in those little researches that I do, right? And I feel like it actually like builds my IQ as well, and just like challenged me to be someone that really loves to do problem solving rather than shying away from any problem that I had, right? And then so from there, like, I taught myself all of this stuff. I built projects, I did stuff like WhatsApp, I did stuff like Signal, I did stuff like Amazon, I did stuff like Uber Eats, like Uber. I did a lot of like complete projects that you could like actually like implement and like take out there into the market and stuff like that. And so yeah, it was a great journey for me, and that's where like I don't know what was happening in me, but I feel like that's where I picked up confidence in what I can do, and what I can achieve if I set my mind to it. And then, fast forward, I applied for a software developer job, at a hospital, and I actually got that role, the software developer role, even though it was a bit shaky in the beginning, because you have to go through a whole process whereby they test you to see if you're actually worthy of taking that leadership role. Because if you're doing a software developer role, you'll be working with the data, and they have sensitive data, people's like personal details and stuff like that. So I was working with that, I was working with that on that, every day, trying out those things. I was, more leaning towards data analyst, software developer, and as well as like systems engineer, because then I started learning how to work on Siemens. I started like doing PLC programming more in detail. Like there was just like embedded systems for Arduino and Freedom boards, but it was like more of like ladder logic now, like just like diving deep into it, like circuits, big systems, So, that's where I learned like, I can do anything like that I put my mind on, right? And that was a whole like process whereby I developed a mindset of like quieting the storm. Like I'd find a way to actually like solve problems in the hardest times of my life. And what I realized is that in every place, when you start becoming someone that understands how to solve, when you improve, you always have fallouts with people. It's like, we grow in an environment whereby people don't want to see you actually do what they brought you to do. It's like people already like immediately feel threatened if they see you shine. But that's not where we are today. Today I stand here, creating this podcast because I believe that I'm going to be at a place whereby I will be successful. I told you, and we spoke about dropshipping before, and I believe we will speak about it, but more in like, let's understand business. Let's understand the whole concept behind businesses, because I'm seeing a lot of people are starting shops, right? And none of the people are starting, a business of being a supplier, which goes against economics. Economics say that if you see a lot of people thinking that they should be selling perfumes, you shouldn't go and want to sell perfumes, but you should be the one supplying them with the perfumes, right? But this is something I will speak more deeply about in the next episode. So I want you to be there, because we will be going through a whole thinking process, and we'll also speak about the puppet masters, and you probably have heard it a lot from the people that are saying they're setting you free. But I'm here to tell you today, the people that are saying that they are setting you free are actually the ones that are keeping you captive. They're the ones that are selling you a false direction, a false dream, and in essence they're not telling you the real truth, and they are keeping you captive. That is also part of the next episode that is going to come. I will explain in detail when we get to that point, which is why you should make sure that you subscribe to join the family and be a part of this podcast. But I just want to say that I realize that you need a couple of characteristics which you get whenever you fall. One is you get to be humble. Two, you get to be so strong that you don't get easily shaken. Like, nothing easily makes you angry, nothing easily makes you give up. So you are always having a cool head, and you're cool, like you're always steady and stuff like that. And I don't know whether you read the Bible, but I just read the Bible like not so long ago. I think a few days ago, just the scripture which was talking about how it's important to mind your business, to be quiet, and to have a steady mind, and a steady mindset. It helps in creating respect from other people. When they look at you, they see someone they can work with. They see someone they can go into business with, and they get to trust you. And these are things that you learn from going through hardships. Now whenever someone is trying to push you out of line, you don't easily get to be pushed out of line, because I'm gonna tell you something. People do something on purpose to prove a point to other people, and it's up to you whether you wanna help them prove that point, which is I guess false, until you start falling for it. People will be pressing your buttons just to prove a point. So it's good that you never ever play in the mud with them, because you get dirty, and you'll dirty your own your reputation, and where you're destined to go, and stuff like that. And it also, like, teaches you, like, to find a way even in the hardest time. I remember there were times whereby I was only surviving on Movite and soft porridge. But I'm here, man. I'm here. Like, I'm telling you, in that period, I still found time to invest the little money that I got. The little money that I would have just like went out there, bought rice, bought some stuff, beans and stuff like that. I would just like take it and invest it and eat my Movite. I'm not saying I'm far from breaking through. Like, I'm actually far from breaking through, but I'm realizing that I do have confidence, and I do know that at the end of the day, I'm going to solve my mystery, my life, and I'm going to do I'm gonna make myself greater and better. And that is the direction that I want us to lean more in this podcast, to just like hold each other up, elevate each other up, be talking about this kind of stuff, and build from them. And these are all characteristics that you learn from being kicked down. And one thing, when you're down, right, you realize that you lose a lot of people. A lot of people move away from you, and so you learn how to be independent and less reliable, and just like be your own self-support. And this is something that also the Bible says, that you must always aim to not be a burden to anyone, financially, socially, or anything like that. You must learn to stand on your own, to be strong on your own, and to never stop working hard. I don't know, man. It's like when you read the Bible and you read it like more of like spiritually, and as well as like you're trying to boost your way. You're trying to read it as like, give me some principles to succeed in life. Like, you'll see these things like in two different angles, and you'll be like, okay, I never thought that you'll teach me on how to be successful and how to be a millionaire, at the same time teach me how to build my spirit and my character. I feel like the Bible is like one of the basic books that is like overlooked, but it's not called the book of life for nothing. It actually is a book of life, and it gives you the hacks and tricks of how to succeed in life, and how to treat life, how to, in essence, play the game of life, right? And so, yeah, if you lose a lot of people, once you're done, you will never spend your time when you're up trying to impress people, trying to bring people, because they walk away all the time. So you'll invest on what really matters to you. That's why I always say it's really important. I don't know, I'm not voting for failure, but if you've gotten it, if you have experienced it, then you emerge out there as a better person than you would have been, if you have never like gone through that experience. That is something that I want to believe, is the whole purpose of just like being persecuted and having to go through all of that. I guess that's why they say, to forge, to create a sword, you have to use fire and stuff like that. So it's basically, it's a molding process that you really need. And I believe like the longer the molding process, the more stronger you get. I guess one thing that I've realized is that you will have the process being longer the more you don't want to learn from it. That is just the truth. But yes, I will be seeing you in the next episode. Hopefully you will join me, and I will be more excited to see you there. Please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. I've been used to this, since now I'm actually like uploading it on YouTube. So yeah, if you're listening on other platforms and other listening platforms, I hope to see you, again. Please make sure that you follow it if you're in Spotify, subscribe if you're on Apple Podcast, and if you're in YouTube, also subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Take good care of yourself.